If you follow basketball in general these days, like at all, you've heard of Lavar Ball and everything that surrounds him. Most of the time it's antics, most of the time it's troll bait just to get people talking, which he's usually successful at, but as we know all too well in this day and age, there's a moment when the troll starts gaining some real power and all of a sudden he can really do something. It's starting to look like in the Lavar Ball story, we may have just reached that point. What's up NBA fans, Dom 2K on the mic, and you may not like Lavar, but there's a slight chance you like his son Lonzo. If you want to see him or other future stars play live, the SeatGeek app is a great way to do so. SeatGeek pulls tickets from all over the web and has them in one place to make purchasing one for your event really easy, and it also assures you'll be getting the best value for your ticket. While searching for your tickets, each one is ranked with a score from 1 to 100 that lets you know if you're getting a good deal or not for your purchase. On top of that, the app also provides you with a detailed view of what you would see from your seat before you even get there, which is extremely helpful. If you're interested in downloading this app, the link is going to be in both the comment section and in the description. So Lavar Ball has been trolling for a good amount of time now. He sold Lonzo Ball as the next Magic Johnson, which a lot of us knew was just troll bait, but for whatever reason the media ate it up and gave him a platform. And now that he has this platform, instead of just acting like a fool 100% of the time, he's toned it down to about 90 because he's actually got a pretty good idea right now. If you haven't heard, his plan is to launch the Junior Basketball Association, or the JBA, where the logo is, of course, Lonzo Ball dunking. Like I said, this is the part where the troll gains some real influence, but no matter how funny Lavar sounded in the past, with the right infrastructure and funding, this thing could one day challenge the NCAA, and that's why I wanted to go over it. If you remember, just a little over a year ago, I made a video voicing my full support of getting rid of the one and done rule because I believe it's just a total waste of time. Well, for once, me and Lavar completely agree, and in his proposed league, top high school prospects would be able to skip college without having to go overseas, and they'd be able to play right here while actually getting paid. He proposes that players would get paid anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 a month, and he's looking for a total of 80 players to make up 8 teams, which would mean 10-man rosters. The only catch to all of this is while playing in the league, players would have to wear Big Baller brand gear. You know, as crazy as this dude sounds, he's a f***ing genius sometimes. If this were to actually go through, we could see top prospects entering the NBA under contract with the Big Baller brand instead of Nike or Under Armour. That is of course assuming this ever goes anywhere. So let's look at how this league would change things, the pros and cons, and how it measures up to a prospect's current options. It used to be that if you were a top prospect and you believe you were ready for the league, you could go there straight out of high school, no questions asked. That was fair because the success or failure of a player was totally on his shoulders. Under today's rules, players can't go to the league until 1 year after high school. They don't have to play in college, but if you're an 18-year-old with no money who's never lived on his own and you want exposure, your best bet is to go to college instead of going overseas. Here's the catch to that. A, you have a chance of suffering a career-altering injury, so while you could be making millions by your choice, you're instead trying to make it through a season hoping to God nothing happens to you. And B, the NCAA can fully exploit you and the money your name generates, but you can't make a dime off of it. The counter argument to this is always that, well hey, you're getting a free education, right? You should be thankful. Well, that's cool and all, except the one and done players aren't pursuing a degree, they're pursuing professional basketball. And on top of that, what kind of education do you think you can get in 2 semesters in college? And on top of that, the education you're claiming they should be thankful for would never pay them as much as even a few seasons in the NBA. But there lies our first question about the JBA. Lavar says he wants 80 players. Well, okay, but there's only 60 spots in any given NBA draft, and out of those 60, a much smaller number are actually star NBA prospects that are locked to get drafted. So in this case, I kinda fall in the middle, because Lavar's league could inspire a lot of players that don't really have a chance to make the NBA to forego their only chance at college education. For instance, you have your Michael Porter Jr.'s of the world who know they're going to the NBA. This league would be perfect for him if he didn't want to go to college and if he wanted to make some money for a year in the US before he inevitably gets drafted. But how many Michael Porter Jr.'s are there? What about the typical college kid that doesn't really know if he'll be drafted? In his case, he's got to roll the dice on going to the JBA where he can make a really good amount of money for his age, only with the possibility of going undrafted. In that scenario, the player will have left on the table a full ride scholarship to a top school in the nation. So my point is, for the rest of those 80 kids who don't have NBA teams knocking on their doorsteps, this could be a gigantic risk, because while it's true that you have your whole life to go to college, you won't always have the financial backing to do that. However, if you are a one and done prospect, the JBA almost makes too much sense not to go to. Yes, they also run the risk of getting injured and not having a scholarship to fall back on, but other than that, unless they just really want to spend a year around college girls, why would you not go pick up around $50,000 before you enter the league and get the same exposure in this country? Remember, some of these one and done guys are really pressed for money during that 1 year in college, so that alone might be incentive enough for them to go with the JBA. But I'm still waiting to hear more about the actual infrastructure of the league, because that also plays a heavy part in how real this is gonna get. Most of you have heard of Ice Cube's Big 3 League, but even they were showing games on tape delay, which meant it got broadcasted the day after the game actually happened. With top prospects, people are going to want to see them on demand, and that also helps with their exposure, so that's something they're going to have to weigh in. The other thing is, I know for a fact the NCAA is going to be trying to push against this some way. Think about it, if the JBA became successful, the NCAA would have a hard time competing, right? They'll never be able to pay their players because that would probably require them to pay at least everybody who plays a D1 sport, I would imagine, so I doubt that's gonna happen. And if the JBA pays, and they even just take the top prospects from college seasons, what's that gonna do to college basketball profit-wise? I really think they're gonna have rules in place like, if you join the JBA, you aren't ever eligible to play in college, so you better choose wisely. As far as the NBA, other than maybe disapproving, I'm not really sure they have any power or care to have power, because it's not like they just start denying top prospects draft eligibility. Plus, the JBA isn't really in competition with them, so they don't have any reason to do that. So whether this gets off the ground or not is going to be interesting to see, because it has the potential to change college basketball forever. When LiAngelo got suspended and Lavar withdrew him, people were just like, whatever, the troll is finally gone. They probably never thought he was going to try to launch the biggest threat to the institution they've ever seen. Personally, I support this league because, if anything, I just feel like players should be in full control of their own destiny. That 1 year gap in between high school and the league is so obviously put there to incentivize them to go to college that they may as well just make it a rule you have to go there. And with the fact that that year offers almost nothing but risk to the player, if you're not going to let them just go to the league, I fully support them having the option to go make money off of their name and their brand until they can make it. But like I said, choose wisely, because if you're not a lock for the NBA, the JBA might do you more harm than good, and that's what I'm wondering about with there being 80 slots. So those are my thoughts on the JBA. This was a really interesting topic for me given how strongly I felt about the NCAA. If you haven't seen that video, I'll post a link to it and you can go watch it. And afterwards, let me know how you feel about this subject. Do you support this new league? Do you not support it? How do you feel about the one and done? Just anything related to the video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and sub if you enjoyed, and hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications on future videos. Make sure to go sub to my second channel because I'm doing a lot of fun gaming stuff over there, and I'll have the link to that in the description as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.